He was trying to see if people are on
Responding.
or not, or no people are on.
Is
That's right. So welcome. Hi, my name is Ram Brisueno. And I'm the artist for this is the show that we call Young Mornings. And I consider myself more of like a collagist. As for my art approach is being a collagist, and I like to take those pieces together. And the Young Mornings is kind of like the idea for Young Mornings is when there's a point where you're dreaming, and then you wake up. That little piece in the morning where you like remember a little bits and pieces of what it was, and then they slowly start to fade away.
Yeah.
But you still can remember the little things, but they have some sort of impact to you that way. So this is trying to capture that little impact of that point in between of that young morning, right before your dream, right before when you remember how to fly and you forget.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this image is about. So it's a lot of magical transformations. A lot of my work is deals with that little bit of storytelling and transformations with the different aspects of people. I've been myself. I'm from Baltimore, and I have been doing art for 30 years. I'm a gentleman of a certain age, so
You're younger than me. Everybody.
yeah.
Don't worry about it.
So I've been doing art for a while, and it's always followed me around. And the way using collage as my approach is such a great way because I like to take pieces of where I've been and pieces of things I've learned and stories that I've heard and myths and things that I've read and books and poetry and all of that. I like to take that and mix it all together, and that becomes my work. Like some of these, have you ever read House of Spirits, Isabel Allende?
Oh, yes, yeah.
And those and my background is Puerto Rican, so I'm very interested in those Latin American artists that have that sort of magical realism in their work their way. So from those stories of House of Spirits, these are those little based on those books from just not based on those books, but pieces taken from those books of that little a way of seeing life and a way of seeing that time isn't linear. Time is like different pieces that add up together. So it's not point A to point B. It's all the other things add up. Something that happened before. So I started doing these little houses. And when you dream, you could be dreaming that you're in your house that you live in now, and then you're walking down the hallway, and all of a sudden it's your junior high school house, junior high school, and it's somewhere else. And then you're walking past that door, and then the couch is from your first apartment or something over here, and then something that makes no sense, but it's a part of the house that you may have seen in a book. So that's what these houses are trying to grasp all that of taking that imagination and giving them a bit of concreteness that way. And the same way with these little dream figures. And one of my main things with the figures is I love the idea of gardens and the idea of growth. They're an essential standard I think in poetry and writing. That there's death, there's life, there's rebirth, there's pain, there's suffering, there's great, everything happens that can happen in the garden. And that's what it is. I remember my mother, who was a big influence on me, was a big person who would play in the garden and let us play in the garden with her. And those were those little special things that I would want to connect with. So the idea with the people where the heads are seeming to become floral, become flowery, or actual just flowers, is the idea of blooming, that letting yourself bloom. And blooming to me means that you're going to be the best bit that you can be. So the figures are showing you their bestness as they're sitting in this environment, and you're fading away into your normal waking world, but they're still in that warm world, and they're blooming right in the middle of that transformation part of that way. So that's what those heads are. and started swifting into this deer figure.
Yeah.
And this deer centaur type figure. It's kind of the idea of peace. It's just the idea. Right now there's a lot of non-peace that we're doing right now. That we're in a big time where the world is going through a lot right now.
That's being kind.
The world, and then that you go from the world, then you go from your neighborhood where there's like shootings in your neighborhoods and things, and shootings in high schools, and there's the idea of that the it was supposed to be sort of like a sacrifice thing that the antelope or the deer was sacrificing itself for your peace. But it's the spiritual thing that if you embrace that, if you embrace something that's different, something that's not you, that's peace. That's the way you can find a way to join people together and connect people more than separate them with like, oh, you're different, you're this person, you're that type of person, you don't have money, you have money, and that figure of the stag is that incorporating all of that together. And where you have the little halo, and now the halos are expanding over the whole with all the little dots. That's the trying to spread as much peace as you can as you can get.
The dots.
Dots on that way.
Huh.
So spreading peace and spreading joy, and some piece over here, such as this piece right where lilac wine, where it's the figure is in the garden and literally like the garden is like enveloping him. The garden is becoming him. He's letting the garden just overtake all of his senses and become something more, which is a good thing. And then other pieces like those pieces with the way. And then I have a friend who recently just passed away a couple of years ago, named Joshua Fennell, and he was a bead maker, and he'd make these little like beautiful jewelry beads and lots of them, and he'd paint with eyeliners and lipstick and fingernail polish. And just he was a great artist.
Are you
And
wearing
that's what
these?
no, but they're his style. Every time I would wear his beads, someone would say, "Oh, I love it," and then I would just have to give them to. I'm that person that again. It was from a storybook in House of Spirits, where one of the characters would always get home and he'd never have his shoes because he'd be passing and he'd go through and he'd see somebody poor and he'd just take him off and just give them the shoes. Here, you need these shoes more than I do. These are going to help you. And that idea of giving to people has always been something for me. And my mother has always stressed that if you come to the house, you have to give somebody something.
Yeah.
So that giving sense. And unfortunately for me, I always like, so I got one of his left, and this is another one that I just created. But I created one of his paintings for him, with this figure with the beads, and he would do these. I think they're called prayer beads, and they're really, really long. And he would do these long prayer beads of different colors, and
I could get an amazing prayer bead set for you. I'm gonna show you.
yeah, and there's intensity that goes to making those things because you gotta go the size and all these things, and that was a picture to honor him for passing for this year, with a little prayer bead and flamboyancy style. So it's good to so I like figuratives that are figurative are good, but mine is more of a surrealistic approach to everything. And the back over here, I'm going through different things. If you see, I have one of my little books over here is one of my another one of my figures in the garden, growing garden, is using an image of myself as a child. Okay, so back again, man of a certain age. People had different pictures, and people used to keep pictures in a box under their bed. and things over there, and they would be crinkly and things. I don't know what people are gonna do these days. Well, I don't know, some people who, these kids today, they're all on the computer or all on your phone. I don't know how you're gonna, print them out later and discover them later, because, we might not have electricity then. Or something, but, so there's something warming about discovering these pictures.
Yeah.
Of the past.
Yeah.
And seeing what was there and what was going on, and what were you thinking, what was there. So there are a lot of pictures of my other brothers and sisters. I have 8 brothers and sisters. There's not a lot
I
of
was trying to
me.
count on the way over here.
There are not a lot of me. So I said, well,
Oh, they are pretty.
Someone gave it to me years ago. And they basically said something they knew I wouldn't have. Okay, Jewish.
yeah, it's a very Catholic. It's a very
From
Catholic.
Brazil, actually, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of like.
There you go. You're big.
Yeah.
Just don't swing them too hard, you'll knock yourself out there.
That was why I go through swinging. Nothing like going to Catholic church. It was all very good. But so the painted boy is sort of so then I found one picture of me sitting on a porch at the house where I'm currently living at. And then I thought there was some sort of there had to be some sort of connection, as my mother had just passed, and then I was starting to the house everyone had when parents pass away, there's sometimes discussions of what you should do and arguing with families and things, and little grievances that come up that can separate you, and it's not because you're grieving and you're separating, but you want to connect.
Right.
And I found that picture, and then I was like, oh, okay, all right, so I'm not connecting the way I want with the words with my brothers and sisters, but the way I always connect and the way I respond to things and the way I help myself heal is using art. And through art, I created this figure of the little boy in the red overalls. And then I just put him everywhere. He was the idea of like where I wanted to go, how you want to see the environment, and just the magicalness of it. And sometimes he has wings, sometimes he grows into a rabbit or different things. But so this little collection book over here, and some people have so there are a lot of different incarnations of them there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one? No, yeah, that one. So these are available if you want to look at these. Those are great things to look at. So any questions? I can talk about anything. You have any question about anything?
One figure in this one with the dots and the lady, are those stairs? What does that represent?
It's kind of like a temple house, like a Mayan.
Stairway to heaven.
If you ever get to go to Mexico, you can see those, walk up with some of those Mayan temples,
Right.
and they have all those stairs where you're walking up or walking down, and at the top they would always have the sun figure who was sacrificing someone, but they're not killing anyone, but she's offering something, and she's got prayer beads over
I
there.
was gonna say, it looks like, I have my glasses on, it looks like she has prayer beads.
So she's got a lot of beads over there. So she's
Huh.
so it's kind of a ritual thing that she's up top of this temple, and a house is a temple.
Yeah.
Temple's a house,
That's beautiful.
and that's sort of that way. So that goes with these 2 ones where she has the 2 houses. And a lot of things with Frida and my other things with one of my favorite artists is Frida Kahlo, and she had the 2 houses that she lives. That she had the husband's house and her house.
My kind of girl.
It makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
So that was kind of taking from that idea, those 2 houses, and that way.
Love that one.
And then this house. Why is the tree growing out of the house? I'm not quite sure why that image had come to me, but it was like, oh my goodness, and there's a person inside of the tree. If you look in there in the tree, and then they have little hands that are holding up the tree and that are sort of like holding it, the soil, the little roots are the fingers, being that way. But I thought it was a great image.
Yeah, I like that one.
So I was wondering, do you sort of have an idea in your head and then you do what you see in your head, or do you put something down and do it more organically, like one thing down and then it tells you the next thing,
So
or is it a combination?
sometimes it's a combination with the intuitiveness of
Yeah.
so what I do, I also do a collage class for different age groups, from small kids to adults. And we take collages, we gather a bunch of different papers and materials to use, images and things, magazines, and I like using magazines because they're familiar and they're full of color and full of things and full of memory that adds to
Where do
it.
you get the magazine?
You can do it in a different magazine. It could be any magazine. They're always something that you see inside of them. So
Yeah.
some are like fashion magazines, some are like sports magazines or nature magazines.
Do you have any friends give you all the?
I have friends I donated me a bunch of National Geographic,
Yeah,
and then they donated a bunch of bird magazines, of bird gardens,
yeah.
and I'm still going through them. So my whole room, I have a space in the house. My space that has all just like papers and things all over the place, and then I'll see something and I'll take it out and I'll just put it in there, and somehow I can know I'll be starting something, so I'll be working on a painting, and then I'll put a little thing over here. I'll start off with maybe a figure. Also, well, the way I do for the class, we do 3 steps to start a collage. First, you find an image that you like. You go through there. It's just an image that you like. You're like, oh, that could be a picture of a bird. Oh, I like bird. I like this picture of this bird that way. And then you pick a picture of. That second point is a picture of something that you like, that you feel that has an emotion to you. It could be a color. It could be a picture of something. It could be a word. And that's gonna be your second image. And then the third image is gonna be an image of intent. Of an image of that you can find that oh, I saw the image of a cross. And I want to use this letter that someone had given me, and I want to put that into this painting. So you have this letter, you have this first image that you have, the second image that you have, and then you add those together. Then you lay those down, then you start adding more. Go back to the same process. Finding an image that you like, something that interests you, and then all of a sudden you start realizing that you're putting emotion and you're developing something into this painting, and then then it guides itself into where it's going to be going. So that's sort of where I go. I'll start with a few scraps or a few colors, and then all of a sudden it just builds and becomes something there.
And then do you paint at the end, or-
And then at the end, I'll finesse it into where I want it to go. But then by then it's already gone where it's gone. So that's just this painting over here with the woman in the yellow dress. I had saw a picture of the actress who plays in How to Get Away with Murder,
Viola Davis.
Yeah.
Viola Davis. So Viola Davis did this beautiful cover of Vogue magazine. And there weren't a lot of there's still not a lot of black actresses that are on Vogue magazine, but she was in this yellow dress and this magazine cover, and I was oh my god, it was just great, and the whole photo shoot was great, and I said I just was all night long thinking about this yellow dress, and then I started that way, and then everything just built up around it with the collages and the pieces, and because it was so regal.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get that regalness of that thing with these 2 pillars of this of the pink coming up, starting to come over there with with the smaller flower people in there, little girls who look up to Viola Davis and look up to that idea of that you can do anything you want to do, and that's what those are kind of get. So that's where it came from. So it came from I saw the magazine with the yellow dress, and then I just painted the yellow, and then added some other. Then I go through and I'm like, oh, you know what? I've got these pieces of yellow that are great. I remember that this is the kind of yellow that I wanted, and I go through the pile, And then I'll start adding it up there, and then I collage it on there, and then, oh my goodness, oh, I've got the string, I've got some more string left from the yellow string, I had string, and add that way. And then you build outs, and then it just becomes that thing. And I really like that. I like there are 2 little girls
Mhm.
in the base of it.
Oh, in the face,
No, in the base,
In the base.
yeah.
Oh.
and then another woman there.
And then, yeah, and then as they're growing up, and then there's, so there was this whole thing, this whole feminine thing that was happening there. And then growing up and in the top, and the little trees at the top of it. So you just let it go.
Ram, what are the 3 pieces, the small piece sitting on the counter there? What is that representing to you
Which,
down below, right?
with the 3 flowers? Yeah, again, that's just part of with the garden and the figures and the blooming there.
Uh-huh.
And I started making them more. First, there were a lot of naked figures with the floral in it, so it was that primitiveness of living in that way. And then I started more and more getting into refining them into wearing clothing and more modern, and making that transformation more immediate and more
This
identifying.
guy's in a very bespoke suit there.
Right. And that was for another piece that I was
Yeah.
doing about the whole idea of gender identity.
Uh-huh,
And then it's a suit,
I like that
but
one.
it's becoming something that's using with the floral nature of that house.
Mm.
And I do as a queer artist, I do put that little bit of a bit of
Mhm.
gender politics in there. So does the suit make a man, or does the suit make a person?
Good question.
You know, either way, you're who you dream you be. You're who you dream you want to be. Is that idea of that thing, that you can become that.
Mm.
It's okay to be where you want to be. And then you see over here, if you look, grab that one right there. Yeah. So that's sort of like, the same thing, use the plural things. And then part of my process, so when I'm doing my work for what I want to do for the year, I'll start off January, the month of January, by doing a painting a day. So you try to commit to doing one piece, as much as you can get done in that day to be a complete piece. And then you sit aside and go to the next one, to the next day, and next to the next day. And by the end of the month, you have 30 pieces that you've done. And some of them are, so it's more than doing like keeping a sketchbook, because then I go back to them and I'll revisit them. So these are the paintings from this year, where I started doing that images with the houses, and the houses were on the person's head. The head was where it was coming floor before it was blooming into a house. So it was like immersing yourself in your memory of your childhood, immerse yourself in your memory of that way. So that was the figures that when there's a house on the figure that way. So floral blooming, becoming your best self. House is remembering your past and remembering your ancestors and all that.
How many pieces do you work on at one time?
Well, these were all, because someone had requested and said, oh, we need some pieces that are 30 by 24. And I'm like, oh, I don't have anything. I don't generally I'll generally work on what I have.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, well, try this, I want this size. So I had about 5 canvases, and then I started, and try one, because I thought it was big. And my process is working with small bits of paper sometimes. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I've got these small things of paper to fill up all of that. Is kind of like, oh boy, I thought it was a little over. But then once I start doing it, then I'll just start working on it. So so these bigger pieces like that way, using the smaller pieces can take, more time than working on a bunch of smaller pieces.
Sure.
So, but I do appreciate the journey that comes out of where you end up with in with the bigger pictures.
How do you know when you're done?
Speaking of doneness, okay, if we look over here, this painting over here.
They
This
just
black
brought
thing,
this in, I
which I
really
just
liked
brought
it
it in.
when I went to pick out the work but it wasn't quite done yet, but I was like, get it done. So,
She's looking at it, she's like, oh, it's great, it's great. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's something. It's just.
missing something.
It was just missing something. So it was the Buddha at the bottom with the bird nest, and then the flowers in the top with the moon sort of thing in the background, and then the bloom in the middle. And then, but this whole piece was missing, and I was like, it's missing me. That's what it's missing. It's not. I'm not in there. And I was, oh, Ramsey, well, just put yourself in there. And so then I had this picture of right before. Well, in 2018, I had gotten really sick, and then had gotten to the hospital, and then had to wound up having kidney disease and lots of problems with kidneys, and had to go on dialysis. So it was like a rough year. And then COVID came, and everything started spiraling, and the world became something else. And I had to like make a decision on what I wanted to do with it. I was like, well, time is limited, time is precious. I think I want to just make art. And took to my husband, he said, okay, well, all right, I'll work and you can go ahead and do your thing. We went to a show and he was there supporting me for the show. And someone had given me these yellow flowers, and I was like, oh, all these flowers. And I was holding these flowers for him. And he said, and when he took his a lot of those pictures that I use of myself are pictures that he's taken of me, because he seems to catch something out of me that I can see, or something when he just takes a normal picture. And he took this picture of me holding these flowers, and it just was so giving and so loving, and he was so giving, and he is so giving and so loving and so expressive, that was what it was about. So it was about giving that, giving your flowers. Everyone should get their flowers before you're dead or whatever. But giving your friend your flowers, and give your friend
You look very
the
determined
respect.
in that. Something about that draws me in. You just look so strong and determined in that. Your expression, it's like.
Because I knew, because I could tell it was gonna be a rough road.
Yeah.
But when you're faced with that, something like that, of a challenge, you can take it two ways. You can let it destroy you and bring you down, or you can elevate it to whatever it's gonna become. And it's good, and it's good. It's good to find beauty in things.
Who thought of the frame for that? I think the whole picture as a frame is just something so strong about all of that.
Again, and then I was forcing myself to try something new and pushing myself, and so that was my attempt to do a frame thing.
Perfect. Yeah.
And it's very physical labor doing woodworking.
I bet.
As Marjorie over here, she's a beast at that, and she understands it. But I'm not more of that physicalness with my artwork. But I was, what, I can do that. I can try that.
Yeah.
I think I like it.
It's perfect.
That was what I found out.
And it's a found object, and it's I found these little pieces of metal, and I had somebody cut them.
Wow.
And then I'm like, oh, so it's got Florio Ovo, which is like a dream man, flower man. And then at the bottom is Somnia, which means dream.
Okay.
So, and those are my two things that are always in my work. So I was like, oh, it makes it great. It gives it a powerful statement that they're plaques. That way.
Yeah.
But as it's good to be influenced by things that help you to heal. And today I have a special guest with me today, and her name is Pilar. And Pilar. So Pilar, I met her. I had not met her until here. She had gone into. I had some work in a gallery downtown in Baltimore, and she saw a piece that was there, and she just saw. And it was a piece, one of my collages, and then sometimes my collages can be. People buy them. I don't know why you buy them sometimes. I know what I see and I make them and they're gonna be out there.
Mhm.
And it's great when someone says, oh, I connect with that and I love that and I see something, anything.
Yeah.
But but when you're talking with an artist, you can get a little bit more about the painting because you can hear about what it means with the houses and things, all those things. But to just coldly go into a gallery and say, oh, I love that. I'm gonna go home with that. So she's about that. And just was looking at it all the way. And then she came to a show. And then she was on my Instagram. And then I invited her to come to this next show. And she came here. And I was talking about the artwork here. And then she was asking about her painting. And I was like, oh, her painting is about time and journeys and dreams and travels and all these things. And did you see the woman in the boat over here, over there? And the little details of the painting. And then she was like, oh. Just like, there was this great connection between what she had seen and was imagining with me, the artist, telling her what was in there.
Yeah.
And just that I felt the connection
Mhm.
right then and there. And then she's also Spanish as well.
Mhm, Puerto Rican.
And she's Puerto Rican background. And that was like, oh my God.
And we both lived in New York City, and we
And
both had our like apartments catch fire.
And so,
What a wonderful thing to have in common.
Really good, kid.
yeah, it's fine.
I met you the time I remember meeting you was at the Zenith Gallery. And my story is you had a book, it was your Warm World book, and you
Yes.
remember, and somebody had asked him to write a poem in it. And he was like, could you write it? Because my handwriting's bad.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what, my handwriting? It's hard. You could write this thing. And so that was like the first time I remember hanging with you. It's so cool.
As a creator, I just created the poem too.
Look at that.
So it's actually there. So the writings are in the book now. Personal writings are in the book. So you're gonna see those. And so later she came here, we meet again, and we're talking, and I asked her, she talks about that she's inspired to make music, because she always wanted to make music, but stopped for a reason.
Mhm.
And she was sort of inspired that I was like, one of my main phrases is there's nothing wrong with believing in dreams. There's nothing wrong with believing in dreams. And then she took that to heart and then started going back to her music. And I was like, oh, well, what if you could make a song for tonight based on the shows? And I gave her the 3 words of time and illusions and dreams and hopes. And
That's 4 words.
Time,
Illusion
the
of time.
illusion, young morning,
young mornings,
dreams,
dreams, and
hope.
hopes. And hope.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And thus,
So I've got all those things, and then, of course, all of my own stuff, right? And we all have,
which is the collage of life.
which is the collage of
Yeah.
life. So I started this thing on Saturday. No, last Sunday, I think. The song didn't exist a week ago. I got my words here because I think I just finished it maybe like Wednesday evening. I messaged it to him, but it's been a joy creating it, and thank you. So it's great. Bodies age, colors fade, songs louder than mine. Both are bound, hearts expound. I give any leaves play, stems sway, we're wet and then we're dry. These break, will you partake? I give anything. Sparkling night, hold me tight, kisses and fight. Rain, run, gone, gone. I give anything. Is everything, the ice becomes a cloud. Everything is everything becomes cloud. Everything in my face is fear. Is everything is everything. Ignite, oh, take life, all together. Gleam, gleam, tides recede, sun casting rain, moons shift, boats drift. I give anything I want. Take pride, glitter from inside. Lit face, bright place. I give anything. Bring the thing. But what you need, I give anything. Is everything the ice becomes the cloud? Is everything the silence becomes loud? Unwind the love time. Is everything the human face is real? Ignite, oh, take, yeah. Take a bow.
Beautiful, wonderful. Beautiful, right. And you with the lyrics, didn't you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were spared me dancing around to that. As
Perfectly fine.
and the July, it was so, it was,
Beautiful.
there was something beautiful, it was something glorious, there was magicalness
Yes.
to it, and it was everything that I had wanted. And I didn't tell her any. I told her the simplest bit, and it just. Thank you,
Thank you.
thank
That's the
you.
first time you've heard her?
I sent him a
She
song.
sent me that
Oh,
song.
okay.
She sent me some other songs
I sent him another song
of her singing.
of a song, another song I wrote, and then that's when he said, "Can you come?"
Aw.
You've ever recorded?
I mean, I've done a lot on other people's stuff,
Mhm.
and I've sung in cover bands, and I've sung covers of ours, but I'm starting to finally have enough work to work that I like, that I'm proud of. But
Well, that was
it's right.
That was beautiful.
Thank you so much.
And I know who could do the album cover.
Wonderful. And you know, child of the '80s, and it was that glorious Natalie Merchant
Mhm.
ness that I love. Natalie Merchant, I love her. Look her up, kids. Well, thank you very much. That was
so
nice.
much.
And that's the power of art. And that's what I want my art to do. I want my art to connect with you on some way that you remember, that you don't know why, but it just connects with you. And for some reason, and the best art is something that you see it, and you're like, oh, well, actually, I don't like it. I don't know why I don't like it, but I'm gonna study why I don't like it. And then you're studying why I don't like it, and then you realize you do like it. And then you keep it, and you say, okay, I can look at that every day then. And then every day I look at it, I come back, and I see something new? And I see something, wow, look, oh, look, there's the little pieces there, and there's a little text there that says something nice. Oh, that was a nice sentiment thing. And that's what I want this art to do. It's supposed to capture that time of capture a bit of magic for you, and to show a bit of magic to people.
Mhm.
You know, that we can still believe in magic, and we can still, there's nothing wrong with believing in dreams.
Well, a lot of art, the art, there's what the artist intends in a piece of art and what they mean to do. And then there's what they subconsciously do in their art. So there's often, and then there's and what the observer and then ultimately the owner who purchases it, what they bring to it. And every day it's different. The light's different, their mood's different. They see different things. I mean, I have a couple of artists, you would be included in that I always say to people, you could spend every day of the rest of your life looking at this piece and you're not gonna see it all. So different things pop out at you at different times, and you may see things in it that he didn't see.
Right.
And that's kind of what art is. It's bringing stuff out in you, in the observer. I think that's why art is so powerful,
Mhm.
is that it touches people, and it can touch you differently. I mean, I'll just give you a tiny little example. Okay?
Well, that's exactly what your art is hanging in my house. And that's exactly what happens. Every day I see something different.
Mhm.
And right now I'm emotionally moved.
Thank
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
you.
So it's just how different it looks when the lights are different.
Yeah. And I do look, I go, let me get a magnifying glass and see. And because it's the little things. Thank you for letting me say that. I'm about to cry.
I think you are crying.
I understand. Yeah, I understand. That took me.
Again, and that was one of my special embracer painted
Magic, yes.
my painted boy pieces.
That means that the name means a lot to me. Yeah,
Oh,
painting yourself.
It's got the monkey and the fruit and the thing and it's offering and it's
As I hands
it's a painted boy and the hand he's wanting to pull the bowl of fruit and like just offering its fruit thing and offering it there. And then there's a monkey peeping behind him. It's like a little spirit guiding him through, and which sort of is reminiscent of, again, Frida Kahlo is my favorite artist. And one of my favorite artists, and she used to have monkeys that literally lived with her.
Yeah.
That were going around that way. And but I'm afraid of those sort of things. I'm afraid of butterflies when they touch you.
There are butterflies, yeah.
I went to, Rochester Museum, Children's Museum, and they have this great butterfly exhibit. Where
In
they're
Rochester, New York,
Yeah, in Rochester.
my
New York.
hometown, okay.
Yeah, oh, the Children's Museum, Museum of Play,
Yeah,
the best.
well, it
Children's
used to
Museum.
be, when I was growing up, that collection was at a place called the Strong House, and
Yeah.
there was a woman, and we went, when I was growing up, we used to go to her house. And this place was a monster. I mean, the house was just, because didn't this place have doll houses like you
Oh,
couldn't believe? I mean, like
there's
the most doll houses
collections of
you've ever seen in your life.
that you'll go in there and then all of a sudden you have like those horror movies where the dolls are looking at you. They used to use eyes and things, use real hair
Yeah.
for these dolls. So there's something
forget about that
personal about these
museum.
things.
Cause it used to be a house,
Yeah.
and then they built a museum
And
downtown
then they
for
got
it.
a big museum for it.
Yeah.
And then
There's some amazing
so they have that,
museums in Rochester.
museum of play, they have that there. But,
Eastman House, oh my God.
but they have the butterfly exhibit things there. So they have kids can come and watch, you can literally sit there and watch butterflies being born.
Wow.
You know, every hour or so, there's something being born, something happening
Oh,
there.
next time I go.
And the kids just love it. They run around and let the butterflies touching, going at them. I
I was,
did
there's,
not like that touch as much because they're sort of like, Just like,
Yeah.
I like your prettiness here. I like it. I like it. I love it when they like and they sit on somebody's face or they sit on somebody's head on you. But I just that little touch things.
there's an incredible place in Rochester that's like a 40,000 square foot, was a warehouse. And they turned this into a kind of an art gallery, nonprofit. And it's somebody who I've known my whole life had bought a table of mine and ended up donating it to them. So I went over there to see it. And I was like, and there was an artist here the other day who lived in Rochester, and we were talking about this place. I mean, it's like that place, only, 40,000 square feet, packed wall to wall, ceiling to floor, with everything. I mean, and there's woodworking is big in Rochester because the Rochester Institute of Technology. So, I mean, they had they had so much gigantic stuff in this place. It was, I've just never seen anything like it. You know, Rochester has some amazing museums and and the Eastman House, of course, is the finest photography museum in the world.
It's a bit of a drive from here.
Oh yeah,
But
I used to do it all the time.
It's kind of cold.
And it was we went there, it wasn't cool. We went there, but the drive, it was wet. It was like rainy, and you had to go through these towns and like
No, fly.
garden, like farm town land before you get to the city.
Yeah.
It's surrounded by these things. So it was all this rain coming down and the roads are flooding and
Well, you didn't go to
it's such a
snowstorm.
thing. I can imagine going to a snowstorm.
I've done it.
A rainstorm. The roads were,
I
we
got
had
once
to
in my
turn
car.
here and turn this way. And never go over. You can't go over. If you see a puddle in the road, you can't drive over it because it could be like
Yeah.
too deep to go through. So they stop you from going. You have to go this way and go around.
We used to say 3 feet of snow wouldn't stop school in Rochester.
Yeah,
They wouldn't shut down schools for 3 feet of snow. That was
Versus 3 inches here.
no, the thought of snow. If you think snow,
That's
don't
true.
cancel class,
That's true. That's true.
you know.
The concept.
Yeah. I don't know why I woke up this morning. My good friend is on the board of the USPS. And I was thinking to myself, have they ever done a stamp of George Eastman? He'd be a really good person to do a stamp of. It's the only person who has 2 stars in the Hollywood Walk of Fame is George Eastman. He's like a Ben Franklin. He invented so many things. It's beyond. I mean, far past photography.
Well, so you didn't tell me. I had gotten together some little postcards
Right.
that you can of the exhibit.
Mhm.
Pass it back that way.
Oh. Oh.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And we've sold a bunch, but since there were so many here, I just let them go.
So we're here, and
Oh, yeah.
I think I think I've been with Zenith Gallery for.
Well, Suzanne actually is the one who found you.
Five years?
On the internet, and I just fell in love with it. I was captivated, and I looked and
Well,
looked.
the first time was after
You were at
after
the
the
gallery.
after all the trauma came in, because 20
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
all that started, and
But really. when
And we
you
did art
really
all night
start-
with you and.
When did you really decide, not decide, because when you're a kid, you don't decide, but when it really hit you that you had this artistic bent to you, how old were you? Because I never knew it, but I wasn't around you always, so.
well, I think I had always
Which one?
done something. I would paint, I would draw,
Yeah.
and I do the arts. But I had older brothers
Yeah.
who were much older and very machismo.
Yeah.
And my father was very Puerto Rican machismo.
Military.
And they're all military, and so me drawing paper dolls. And it wasn't about the paper dolls, it was more about drawing
Yeah.
people and figures and things in his way. And then wanting to dance around the house and music and listening and just being me.
Yeah.
No, you couldn't be me. There was some difficulty with me being me.
Yeah.
And so they would thumb me down, but I would still get up and do it.
Yeah.
And, we had a tree in our backyard. So I would climb out my window. It was like connected to the window. You climb out the window, climb on the roof, and you go into this tree in the backyard. And I take all my papers and all my secret little things and drawings and things and books, and I sit in this tree and put them inside of the tree. I don't know. I can't imagine how big this tree was. Now, just relation wise, thinking as an adult, how you're gonna fit in there. But as a child, I fit perfectly in there. It was like it felt like this room, and I just had books and things over there, and I sit and I drew all day until my mother said, "Oh, time to come in. The lights are on. You have to come in the house." And I would keep stuff up there secretly. So, because my brothers and stuff would come home and they go through the drawer like, "What's this? Oh, favorite all collection of those drawings." And then they would destroy things.
Oh.
So.
And so then I would still just wanted to do it over and over and over again. Went to college and did oh yeah, you need to go do something. I was trying to do something like them. So I decided, I'm gonna join the army too. I'm gonna do this masculine thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna join the army too. And that was a different experience for me. It wasn't that experience that they had that made me more to them. It made me into me. It made me defend who I wanted to be. It made me realize this is what I want to do. This is me. I can be me, and I'm strong enough to be me. And you give me tools so that I can be me. And that's when. So right after the army, that's when I started doing more artwork and more like. Then I went to school for English and writing poetry and was doing poetry forms and
Right.
and then in 2000, around 1999, moved around, and then I started like literally doing art and decided to enter an art contest for the city for one of our art teams. And I'm like, okay, well, see, and they do it, and then they liked it. And I was like, what? You can do something people like. And then from there, from 2000 on.
That's great, yeah.
That's right. And then right when I met Charles, was supportive, encouraging, because I had somebody supportive and encouraging.
I think Gail's got a question.
I do have a question. Again, I do have embraced your magic. And now you have taken my little boy. I put him in that painting. And I'm wondering who is that little boy? Is that you?
That is me.
And comparing the one that I have to this one, it's a smaller figure. And then what's happening to the figure behind it? Well, why are we going there? Is that-
Oh, and this one?
Yes.
So that is the dream keeper. The dream keeper's telling her stories. So that's as I would sit out there and you're making your own fire, your own heat source, your own little
He's making the fire.
your own thing that suits you.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you just let nature come. You let the stories come. You just let your imagination explore and grow. So that's kind of what those 6 paintings were about. There were six of these painted boy ones, and Embrace Your Magic is the one where, you're offering something, and offering something is a good thing, and that's that is about, and that's telling stories is a good thing, that makes me me. Me is by telling my story. There's another one where that we just sold to with the sky ship where
yeah.
the painted boy, he's in a tire swing, and like the tire swing wasn't just a tire swing, it was like a rocket ship to anywhere. So I could just sit on there by myself and just spin around and just go and just be beyond myself and imagine and so that's those paintings were trying to capture these little beautiful moments as a child.
Yeah, there's 6 of them. How long of time did you paint those 6? Did you paint them all at one time?
So I was saying how I do my January paintings. Every January I do a painting a day for the month. So when I started doing these painting boys for the month of January, I had done these little bottles with
Mine says curious at the bottom.
yes.
By the way,
curious
fires is what people used to look at before there were television sets. And, if you ever spent a lot of time in a fireplace,
Yeah.
it changes constantly. You always see different things in it. And I like a lot of people find them fascinating because it just changes constantly. I mean, what you don't want is to have a
So
fire.
these were the little bottles
Yeah.
that I made. So I made like
Boys there
so
too.
30 different
I
bottles.
see the butterfly.
with the painted boy. Not on me, but dancing with butterflies. That's fine.
Yeah.
And it's being, as kids we used to capture butterflies with other kids, we capture them and put them in bottles, and I would always like take the bottles and take the lids off, as if because we sit them with they they were trophies, and we put them in a little clubhouse where we're doing, and then I stick in there and like take the bottle caps off, so they'd be able to get out. So like you can't, why they're not gonna be able to breathe with the bees or whatever. They need to get out, and so that was me. Oh, these guys.
So you haven't
I was destroying
that little boy is still evolving, huh?
that little boy has been in over 100 or so paintings.
Yeah.
Different things as he's here
Mhm.
and he's
That's
there,
the one I have.
and it's curious days and he's getting a little bit older,
Mhm.
and this is from the picture.
I think I have that.
I see it, yes.
So,
Hi, Judith.
Oh, see, this is the only one I found in a box.
yeah, I think I have that. Copy of
You
that.
pass that over.
Yeah, I want to see it. Please, thanks.
Oh, she's gonna pass to you in a moment.
Yeah, I have this picture too.
Well, that's where all the painted boys started from.
But you have the overalls on too.
There's always work.
Oh, wonderful.
So this books, and then here's these other books there.
You the one you got me as a gift. At the front of the door. Yeah.
So one of the things is when I first started in 2000, I was dating Tim, who was another artist, and his art was not going where he wanted it to go. So, but my art, I was just starting to like do my own art and do what I wanted to do, and like, so I'm going here and here and here, and he felt like he was going here and here and here. So that ended horribly, and he became very negative about what I was doing. Oh, what does that mean? Why are you doing people with these? Why are you doing people with ears like that? Or what does this mean? Oh, ugh.
And why is it people like it?
Yeah, he was just very negative about it. But like, I'm like, I'm still gonna do it again because that army training. When I had when I was in the army, I had a person who was like telling me, no, you're not gonna make it out here. We're gonna see you in this project. And I just did the opposite and just kept going on it. So then he's telling me no, I'm like, I'm still doing my things. And I started using my own image, and he would use his image in his artwork. And then I would like take some of his artwork and put his image in there and create other things using his image in these paintings on it. But he wasn't thinking these things. I'm like, well, okay, well, why not do it with me? Use my own image and your artwork anyway. So that's why I started using some of my own images in different artworks.
Oh, okay.
So I looked there. Then, again, putting myself with the floral
You
things.
have such a strong face.
Thank you. It's genetic.
Yes, I have to say, it's
I think
genetic, yes.
Thanks
Thanks to our.
There's a strength in our line.
People used to think how great was my mom.
Yeah, this is like,
Something, your mother, when I'd be with you guys.
yeah, these are my cousins. This is my
Yeah.
second. Because now we have
So many of these people.
cousins and second nieces and nephews and nieces and grandnephews and grandnieces and grandnephews. And
Can you-
family's wonderful. Well, I like going online and hearing when everybody's saying, like now, Melissa, Ralph's daughter, her son
Is a pilot.
is a pilot now.
Yeah,
And he's like, flying planes.
yeah,
And you're saving lives.
yeah.
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 Yeah,
I'll take it. I'm taking time.
just all these little and I had a video of like we were at your house
Mhm.
and it was like one of the last things we were over there. Yeah, and you were in there and you were dancing in the room and all the little kids and you and Tracy and then Hannibal and then you're all dancing in the room and it's just joyous to think that these are grown people now
Yeah.
and they're making other people.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, some of them are making other people.
they can make them. They're coming. They're coming.
I couldn't help it. She gets mad at me. I'm sorry. I take it back.
But they have such lives and I like I love it that they're part of our story
Yeah.
and that through it all that we're connected and you're connected with.
And it's important the kids to know the whole history of everybody. It's pretty extensive. I can't figure out how to print it, the family tree stuff. But your brother, Ralph was talking about a reunion. I'm thinking, okay, who has energy? It's gonna take a lot to put that together.
Well, that's when we put all our money together. We did try to hit the lotto the other day. It was a big thing. We only got a couple $100. But that would have been something. And then we were like, oh.
Oh, we just buy a bunch of houses in the backyard.
Well, thank you all for coming. Thank you. If you have any more questions, I'm free to ask when we for a bit.
I'm sorry, Charles, I couldn't see Charles.
I have over here these little, and I call them instant collages. So they're little collages posted on little Polaroids that I embellish and make them into little pieces of art. If you'd like to donate those, I'm gonna use like $10 each, and I'm gonna put that in a box, and I'm gonna give that for Pilar for playing such a sharing with me such a wonderful